So today I'm going to show you how to play the lower harmony from the alternate picking break from Waves by Guthrie. So I'm going to start by playing a demonstration. First I'm going to play it at full speed like Guthrie, then I'm going to slow it down so that you can see what's going on. Here goes nothing. Alright, and now slowly. And then back up. Okay, so before we even start, I'm just going to say, as was the case with the last video, I have prepared a fully notated PDF with the string changes and the pick strokes highlighted. So if you want to just skip all of my instructions and look at the PDF, just go to the description for this video. But if you want to watch me demonstrate this, here goes nothing. So this pattern is the lower third to the alternate picking break that Guthrie plays around the 3-minute point in his famous song Waves from the Erotic Cake album. And so we actually play it up here with our first finger on this F sharp. But you might be thinking, well, if this pattern is the same as in the last video, just down a third within the key of F sharp minor, why not start with our pinky on the F sharp and play it like this? And the answer is that it's all going to make sense at the very end, because it ends on this high B. And that's going to be a really hard note to get to if we start down here. So we actually start with our index finger here, and that makes this pattern really tricky because when we start the lick, it's the only note on the high E string. And so it's also the same basic down 7 notes, up 3 notes pattern as with the ascending version, because these two parts are meant to harmonize with each other. So aside from the fact that this is down a third, it's really the same pattern, and once you get that, if you already know how to play the pattern from the last video, you'll get this in, I don't know, about 2 weeks, if not faster, depending on how much you practice it. So once again, once the camera focuses, starting with the index finger on this F sharp, we go downstroke, upstroke, downstroke, upstroke. And as usual with alternate picking, it's always going to be different pick strokes when we change strings. So even though the B string is mostly upstrokes, the G string is going to be mostly downstrokes. So we go down 7 notes. Let me replay that. That sounds more like a note grouping of 7. And then we go back up, and then we play a single note on the B string with an upstroke. And it's the same basic pattern for the rest of the scale, because if you just repeat that pattern, you'll eventually work your way down the whole scale like this. And we end on this low B at the 12th fret. And that appears to be the way Guthrie plays it. Again, there's not a high definition video of Guthrie playing this, but if you are going to try and watch a video of Guthrie playing it and see exactly what he's doing, I recommend the Licklibrary video, but specifically I recommend watching it on a computer screen in full screen mode, because the picture quality is so poor that you're not going to be able to tell on a smartphone. And then it's the same basic pattern going all the way back up the scale. And so on. But the picking sequence is going to be kind of flipped from what it was going down. So we started the descending part. Messed up some of the notes, but the same basic idea. We start on a downstroke, but with the ascending part, it's going to start with an upstroke because of how the picking works out. Upstroke. And so then I might as well just skip to the end because most of this stuff is stuff I covered in the last video. So I said that we're playing it in this position starting with our first finger at F sharp because of the ending. So as we go back up the scale, we have to do this kind of Alan Holdsworth style thing, where we actually play 4 notes on the high E string. And if you watch the Licklibrary video, you will see Guthrie ends on this high B. So I'm much more confident that this is what he's actually playing, as opposed to in the last video where I openly admitted that I wasn't 100% confident in the ending, but I'm very confident about this. So now I'll go over some of the quote-unquote problem areas. Because of how the string changes end up working out, there's some kind of awkward fingerings that don't really come up with the upper harmony, specifically as it relates to the index finger again. We're kind of used to using the index finger as kind of nature's capo, where we just kind of leave it over 1 fret and it doesn't move, but that doesn't work for this lower harmony. Watch. So right away, that string change from the B string to the G string, we have to move down a string and down a fret, but then that's probably one of the trickiest parts of the phrase, and it's right at the beginning. Because what you end up having to do is go from your index finger to your pinky, and that's a really hard fingering up here above the 12th fret because your fingers are so close together, like I talked about in the last video. So I would definitely recommend practicing this lower on the fretboard, but so that I can get as much in the camera frame as possible, I'm doing it up here in F sharp the way it is on the record. And that's really like the only major problem spot for the descending part. So I'm just going to skip back to the ascending part. So the thing that worked best for me is actually a technique that ordinarily I think most people would tell you to avoid at all costs. But at high speeds, it really seems like the only reasonable way of playing this. And that is, since we only have 1 note initially on the B string before coming back down the G string, what I end up doing is instead of doing a position shift from here to here, I actually just bar to the B string with my middle finger like this. So at full speed it looks like this. And again, that's really hard, and if that's a new thing to you, it might even be kind of dangerous, and I'm not looking to get anybody hurt just by practicing. Definitely work on it slowly and carefully, but that's the other problem area, and that's on the ascending part. And so then the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 notes are going to be this. It's just the scale, and there's no abnormalities in the fingering or the picking. So it's just. like that, and then you've got 4 notes on the top string, so you have to use a 4-note fingering that kind of looks like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so then once again at full speed it should look something like this. Alright, and so that's how to play the lower harmony from the alternate picking break to waves, which is the part that Guthrie plays. Hopefully you found the 2 videos useful, and hopefully now everyone can play waves the right way instead of just cutting away at that moment. Alright, next day MJ here, just reminding everybody to like, comment, and subscribe, and check out my music on Bandcamp if you want to support me. Link in the description. Thanks, have a nice day.